This is a 1960s Trojan Toraktor. In this series of films, I've been restoring it back to its original condition. I've stripped it down, took the body off it, took the wheels off it, took the replacement engine off it, and got the original engine to work. Then we put the original engine back on the tractor and got that going. So here is the latest instalment of the Trojan Toraktor restoration project. Hello, my name is Eddie and today I'm coming to you from a very windy barn workshop, and we will be working on the Trojan Toraktor, which is a mini tractor built by the Trojan company in the 1960s. Trojan was a company that made all sorts of quite strange things, but they made cars, vans, they made bubble cars, they made scooters, and things like this little tractor as well. So why do I have this little tractor? On the 10th of May 1966, my grandfather paid £119 and 10 shillings for it, and he bought it for my dad. It was his birthday present, I think. So obviously my dad was a very lucky, spoilt young boy. The reason I know exactly how much it cost is, in here is the original invoice that was sent with the tractor. This has all of the original information for the maintenance and some quite interesting pages on how to grow crops, which, you know, could have come in handy at the time. Who needs Farm Simulator? Anyway, as I've said before, my dad loved this tractor, and when my brother and sister and I arrived, my granddad arranged to have it restored, which was when the original engine was replaced. Now I've put the original engine back on, got it going, and hopefully some of the younger generation of our family will want to play on it. I'm not sure about that, but we'll see. The first job to do is restore the original fuel tank. This sits in a little cradle at the front of the tractor under the bonnet. Over the years, it's got quite rusty, so I'm going to try the old trick of putting a load of nuts in there and shaking it. I also put a bit of white spirit in there too. I was trying to figure out a way to mount this on something so it would do it automatically, but I thought by the time I've actually done it, I'd be better off just standing there shaking it for a few minutes, so there we go. It's certainly not pristine inside, but it's definitely good enough to use with an inline fuel filter. It just has a little strap. There's a piece of inner tube to stop it from vibrating too much, and then that goes on top of that little cradle. It looks like a radiator or something, but it's actually a sort of weight box, I guess. Mine's just full of sand. Then from the fuel tank, there's a rubber fuel hose that goes round the engine via a filter and a tap, and then that goes to the carburetor. Smells bad. Right. I'm now replacing the gear oil in the bevel box. It's not a normal diff, it is a bevel box because it has a constant drive to two dogs that then have corresponding dogs that go to the wheels. So you can engage one wheel at a time, if you like, to help you steer. After I drained the bevel box, I just filled it up to a level fill plug with some EP90 using my little garden fence sprayer thing. After that, I decided to give all of the panels a really good clean. I think they have their original paintwork, and I'm not going to mess with that anyway. So I decided that just to get years of dust and grease and grime off, I'd use some soapy water. After I gave everything a good clean, I dried everything off, and then I tried some of this paint conditioner stuff that I've heard about. I can't remember what it's called, but apparently it's supposed to sort of protect the paint, but it smelt kind of like linseed oil. It definitely made the paint look nicer. Then I decided to make a protective plate to go over the little prop shaft to stop anyone's small feet being able to get in there. So I just cut a piece of sheet steel and then painted it red. And that goes over the gap between the chassis rails where the prop shaft is spinning, and it's just secured by 4 nuts and bolts through the chassis. I whipped the wheels off as well to give them a coat of paint, and while I did that I thought I would fit all of the body panels. So the panels went on quite easily as far as I can remember. I'd kept all the nuts and bolts, but I had some new UNF fixings in case I'd lost any. I think I'd lost 1 or 2 bolts, but other than that, I had them all still. Here's the piece I made fitted to stop anyone's feet or shoelaces going around the prop shaft. I decided to paint the wheels Land Rover limestone, which I thought was a pretty close match to what they were before, but the paint I have is pretty white compared to limestone. So for the eagle-eyed viewers amongst you, yes, I am putting the wheels back on the wrong way round at the back. Now all that's left is to fire it up and give it a test drive. At least I've got the wheels on the right way around now. The arrows go forward. After my little test drive, I noticed quite a lot of smoke, and I had a look, and quite a lot of oil was coming out of the little breather valve. Where does that leave us? I think from the amount of oil that was coming out of the breather there on the side of the engine, I would say that it probably has worn out piston rings. I know that the piston did have a little bit of side-to-side play when I took the head off to have a look at it, and at the time I thought, that could be a problem. It could just have too much oil in it, but I doubt it, to be honest. I don't think that much oil would come out if there was too much oil in there. So the future of that engine remains in the balance. It was so great to see the tractor with all of its original panels on and the original engine there running around as it would have done when it was brand new. However, it's not brand new, it's really old. So if it's going to be run reliably and a couple of times a year, it probably should have that sorted out. But in terms of how the strip down and the rebuild has gone, I'm fairly happy. I'm glad that the original engine still works in some capacity anyway. But in the future, yeah, might have to strip it and rebuild it with some new piston rings, maybe a slightly larger piston. I don't know if it's got a oversized one in there. The trouble with that engine is it's a Clinton engine, which were made in America, and spares for Clinton engines are just non-existent in the UK. So it will be a little bit of a mission to find the right stuff, or if I can find a local engineering workshop that might help me out. Yeah, so tentatively, cautiously, I'm quite happy with it. I'm glad it's back together, and it was nice to see it going along. It's certainly more zippy than it was with the Briggs & Stratton engine in it. I don't think that engine quite had the grunt that this one does, even though they're the same horsepower. The Briggs & Stratton engine would always be hunting on the governor to try and then when it was running, it was absolutely flat out. It wouldn't work unless the engine was absolutely flat out, whereas that will run probably more like 60%, the tractor will go, and then if you put it onto full, then it will go faster. So yeah, so that Clinton engine is certainly more suitable for the tractor in terms of its usability. What I do need to do is I need to sort out some kind of air cleaner for it and some kind of throttle control, because at the minute I'm just reaching around and I'm just reaching to the side and pushing the thing forwards and backwards. If kids are going to drive this, they might need some hearing protection, although I never had hearing protection when I drove it when I was little, and probably having a throttle like near the steering wheel isn't a good idea, because I'll just constantly be going forwards and back. I know that when I was little and I used to drive this, the big handle on the side that lifts up the implement thing on the back, I would just constantly be having that going forwards and backwards to try and make it go faster. So having a throttle available, probably not a good idea. I might film a video of servicing it and then seeing if I can get any little ones to test drive it for me. Yeah, if I do decide to sort that leaky oil out the side of it, then I will have to make a video about that as well. So thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and stay tuned for more. Please consider subscribing if you're not. And yeah, I'll see you on the next one. Thanks.